Hi. Hope you all good. Welcome to my channel, Information for All. Time, estimation of. The historical backdrop of time estimation is the narrative of the quest for more reliable and exact approaches to quantify time. Early human gatherings recorded the periods of the moon somewhere in the range of 30,000 years back, however the primary minutes were checked precisely just 400 years prior. The nuclear tickers that permitted humanity to follow the methodology of the third thousand years, in the year 2001, by a billionth of a second are under 50 years of age. In this manner, the training and exactness of time estimation has advanced extraordinarily through mankind's history. The investigation and study of time estimation is called horology. Time is estimated with instruments, for example, a clock, or schedule. These instruments can be whatever shows two fundamental segments: 1. An ordinary, consistent, or tedious activity to separate equivalent augmentations of time, and 2. A methods for monitoring the additions of time and of showing the outcome. Envision your day-by-day life preparing toward the beginning of the day, driving your vehicle, working at your particular employment, going to class, purchasing food supplies, and different occasions that make up your day. Presently envision all the individuals in your neighborhood, in your city, and in your nation doing these equivalent things. The social connection that our reality includes would be basically incomprehensible without a way to gauge time. Time can even be viewed as a typical language among individuals, and one that permits everyone to continue in a precise manner in our confounded and relentless world. Along these lines, the estimation of time is critical to our lives. The causes of current time estimation. The most established clock was undoubtedly Earth, as it identified with the sun, moon, and stars. As Earth turns, the side confronting the sun changes, prompting its clear development from one side of Earth, ascending over the sky, arriving at a pinnacle, falling over the remainder of the sky, and in the end vanishing beneath Earth on the contrary side to where it prior showed up. At that point, after a time of obscurity, the sun returns at its starting point and makes its excursion once more. This repetitive wonder of a time of splendor followed by a time of haziness prompted the time frames currently known as a day. Little is thought about the subtleties of timekeeping in ancient times. However any place records and antiques are found, it is discovered that these early individuals were engrossed with estimating and recording the progression of time. A second repetitive perception was likely the rehashed event of nowadays, trailed by the acknowledgement that it took around 30 of nowadays, really, apart more than 27 days, for the moon to push through a total arrangement of its shape changes, in particular, its primary periods of new, first quarter, full, and last quarter. European Ice Age trackers more than 20,000 years prior scratched lines and gouged gaps in sticks and bones, perhaps tallying the days between periods of the moon. This time interval was in the end given the name of month. Correspondingly, the aggregate of the changing seasons that happen as Earth circles around the sun offered assent to the expression year. For crude people groups it was good to isolate the day into such things as early morning, noontime, late evening, and night. Early time estimating instruments. The primary instrument to quantify time could have been something as straightforward as a stick in the sand, a pine tree, or a mountain top. The consistent shortening of its shadow would prompt the early afternoon moment that the sun is at its most noteworthy situation in the sky, and would then be trailed by shadows that protract as haziness draws near. This stick inevitably developed into a pillar, or shadow clock, which dates as far back as 3500 BCE. The Egyptians had the option to isolate their day into parts tantamount to hours with these slim, four-sided landmarks, which seemed to be like the Washington landmark. The moving shadows framed a sort of sundial, empowering residents to separate the day into two sections. Sundials developed from level even or vertical plates to more intricate structures. One form from around the 3rd century BCE was the hemispherical dial, or hemicycle, a half-bowl molded despondency cut into a square of stone, conveying a focal vertical pointer and set apart with sets of hour lines for various seasons. Evidently 5,000 to 6,000 years prior, human advancements in the Center East and North Africa started clock production strategies to sort out time all the more proficiently. Old strategies for estimating hours without daylight included fire timekeepers, for example, the scored flame and the Chinese act of consuming a hitched rope. All fire timekeepers were of a deliberate size to surmise the progression of time, taking note of the time span required for fire to venture out, starting with one bunch then onto the next. Gadgets nearly as old as the sundial incorporate the hourglass, the automation of timekeepers. By around 2000 BCE, people had started to gauge time precisely. In the end, a weight falling under the power of gravity was fill-in for the progression of water and time gadgets, a forerunner to the mechanical clock. The main recorded instances of such mechanical checks are found in the 14th century. A gadget, called an escapement, hindered the speed of the falling weight with the goal that a cogwheel would move at the pace of 1 tooth for each second. The logical investigation of time started in the 16th century with Italian stargazer Galileo Galilei's work on pendulums. He was the first to affirm the steady time of the swing of a pendulum, and later adjusted the pendulum to control a clock. The utilization of the pendulum check got well known during the 1600s when Dutch cosmologist Christiaan Huygens applied the pendulum and equalization wheel to control the development of timekeepers. By excellence of the common time of swaying from the pendulum, timekeepers got exact enough to record minutes just as hours. Albeit English physicist Sir Isaac Newton proceeded with the logical investigation of time in the 17th century, a far-reaching clarification of time didn't exist until the mid-20th century, when Albert Einstein proposed his speculations of relativity. Einstein characterized time as the fourth component of a four-dimensional world comprising of space, length, tallness, profundity, and time. Quartz gem checks were created during the 1930s, improving timekeeping execution a long ways past that of pendulums. Time regions. During the 1840s, the Greenwich Time Standard was set up with the focal point of the first run-through zone set at the illustrious Greenwich Observatory in Britain, situated on the 0-degree longitude meridian. Altogether, 24 time regions every 15 degrees wide were built up equidistant from one another east and west of Greenwich's prime meridian. Today, when the time is 12 o'clock early afternoon in Greenwich, it is 11 a.m. inside the following connecting time region toward the west, and 1 p.m. inside the following abutting time region toward the east. Stamping divine time. A few archaeologists accept the unpredictable examples of lines on the desert floor in Nazca, Peru were accustomed to checking heavenly time. Medication wheels stone circles found in North America dating from more than 1,000 years back additionally may have been utilized to follow superb bodies as they moved over the sky during the year. Atomic time or nuclear time. Varieties and fancies in the world's revolution in the long run made cosmic estimations of time lacking for logical and military needs that necessary exceptionally precise timekeeping. The present norm of time depends on nuclear timekeepers that work on the recurrence of interior vibrations of particles inside atoms. These frequencies are autonomous of the world's revolution, and are predictable from every day inside one section in 1,000 billion. Hope you enjoy this video. Please subscribe for more videos for my Information for All channel. Thanks for watching.